Hey everybody, RC here. I want to share with you a workflow tip that I have that makes my editing a lot easier with the use of the palette controller system. Now, I have the expert kit here, and one of the most powerful features that I think people don't talk about is profile switching. You get a kit and you're like, all right, well, I have this expert kit. I only have a finite numbers of dials and buttons and sliders. How much can I really do? A lot. Let me show you. So I have the brain connected here. I'm going to just do a simple setup here. I'm going to grab, let's say I'll grab this dial. I'm going to connect that there. I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to connect my second one. I'm going to connect my third one. Oh, actually, you know what? I want this one up here, right? So it's keeping track, right? That part I think is pretty cool. I want a button over here. I want a button over here. And then I'm just going to take one slider, put it right there. Take another slider, put it right there. It automatically recognizes that layout, so now we look pretty good. Now, two things that I do inside of a picture. I do developing and I do finishing. So in developing, I'm doing temperature and exposure and contrast and things like that. And then finishing, I'm usually doing detail and noise and post-crop vignette. So how do I do both of those things with just a limited controller set? That's the beauty. Now inside of here, I'm going to grab this one right here and I'm going to go to basic and I'm going to go to temperature. I'm going to click on done. I'm going to grab this dial, go to basic, go to tint. That's done. I'm going to grab this slider, I'm going to go to basic, I'm going to go to exposure. That's done. Grab that, go to my slider, go to contrast. That's done. Now this top one over here, usually I like to set it to vibrance. And now that's done. Now, that's pretty much all these layouts. Don't worry about this button and this button. We're going to talk about that in a second. But right from inside of here, I'll go and I'll grab this name here and I'm going to call this developing. Once I click on done, you'll notice that it says developing right there. Easy enough. But now I want to start doing some finishing moves. I'm going to click on the plus sign and I'm going to go into Lightroom. Notice that I have the same layout here. This time around, I'm going to click on this guy and this guy is going to be detail sharpening. This one is going to be, let's say, detail noise reduction, luminance noise reduction. This one here, I'm going to go to effects and I'm going to make that my post-crop vignette. Now this one, if I go back to my basics, I'm going to go to my shadows, and then over here, I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to go to highlights. Now, this setup, I'm going to call this, select all, finishing. Notice I click on done, now I have that layout. This is where it gets powerful. This button, what I'm going to do is I'm going to program this button so that you use this right here called palette profile switching. Clicking on that, you can say, I want you to go to the next profile or the previous profile. I'm going to click on next profile. Now, it does this for all of the profiles that you have, right? So you don't have to do it in this one. It's already going to do it for you. And the beautiful part about it is that if you're using this for, let's say, Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator, you do have the option to skip the profiles of the other applications. And I think that's a good thing. So now in this profile, notice I have the next profile set up here. All of my finishing adjustments are set up. If I go to the development slider, there's the next profile. All of my basic settings are done. Now, if I go to this picture, let's go ahead and take a look. Notice we're at developing. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this slider and notice it changes my exposure, this changes my contrast, then this right here changes my temperature, this changes my tint. If you press something and hold it down, it makes a very extreme change, see? But if you just turn it, you turn the dial, it does a lot of fine-tuning control. That part I think is cool. Here's the benefit. You press this and now it switches to finishing. In finishing now, that same slider controls shadows as well as highlights. I can take my post-crop vignette, drag that in there. I can add some sharpness. I can add some noise reduction. Once I'm done with that, hit the button again, back to developing. If you need to do some additional work from inside of here, you can get and do that with no problem. But here's the question. What about that button right there? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go inside of palette, and for that button, I'm going to set it to keyboard mode, because what I like to do when I'm working on a picture is, what if I go to this picture and I want to apply the settings that I did here? Well, the keyboard shortcut for that is under settings, and there's an option here called paste settings from previous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this keyboard shortcut, Option Command V or Alt Control V. So inside of the control interface, I'm going to do an Option Command V right here, and I'm going to call this Previous. Now, for this, I'm going to have to do it on both of them. So I'll go back over here, go back to keyboard mode, Option Command V, and I'll call this one Previous as well. So now that I'm set there, notice I'm back in developing. I make these adjustments and I go, okay, well, that's great. Switch. There's my finishing. Okay, that's great. Should I move to the next picture? And I go, all right, well, this is something that I want now. I don't want to have to redo everything from scratch. I can just hit that one button. It takes those settings and it pastes them. For more information on this, make sure that you go to palletgear.com. My name is RC. Thanks for watching.